Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Sense for Thoughts. I'm Mo, and today, as per the title, I have a bit of a confession to make. My perfume collection has, in the past 3 months or so, gotten incredibly out of hand, and it's unacceptable. So, if you guys are not familiar and you're new around here, I'll just run you through what my ideal perfume collection is like. I shared this on the Seldomly Often podcast of Frag Talk a few months back, as early as May. I kind of said my ideas, how I make decisions, how I keep a trim collection of under 50 perfumes roughly at the time. Now, since then, I've been on a massive trip abroad for over a month, and when you're on holiday, you kind of, take the handbrake off a bit with everything, really. It's like, do you want to spend this much money on this meal? Yeah, why not? I'm on holiday. And you kind of do the same thing with perfumes. And now I can't even count how many bottles I have. To me, that makes me feel uncomfortable. It makes me have decision-making anxiety. I don't even know what I have anymore. And it's just making me quite unhappy with the state of my collection. So instead of decluttering and figuring out a solution on my own, I thought it may be of benefit to do this with you guys on video so we can help each other out. You can help me with suggestions, or you could learn and see how my process works, and maybe you can take a few things away for your collection. But now let me just briefly explain what my ideal collection is. So firstly, I'm not a perfume collector. I am what some, meaning what Rafi might say, a great YouTuber, by the way, a wearer of perfumes. I don't have a collection, but I have a wearection. So everything I have must be something that I wear. Okay, so that's the first rule. The second rule that I have for myself is that I avoid redundancy like the plague. If there's one thing that kind of does the same thing as the other thing, then I don't need both. I'll just stick to one. It doesn't mean that I just have one fougere, one amber, one patchouli, one oud. For certain notes that I'm a bigger fan of, and certain families of perfumes I'm a bigger fan of, I allow myself to have multiple of those, as long as they do slightly different things, and I feel like they add value, and I wear them quite a lot. I don't like collecting perfumes because, to me, I like my collection to serve me rather than me serving my collection. I don't want it to turn into this kind of beast where I'm feeding and serving the collection. The collection should be serving me, the owner of said collection. So if you're here and you're not pulling your weight, then you're a waste of my money. That money I could be spending on not just other better perfume, but, anything, rather than just wasting it, So that is the few rules that I have. Another rule that I have is that I like to aim for the best-in-class approach, where I want what is the best for me. So I like to do extensive sampling before I commit to buying a bottle. There are a few easy traps to fall into, and I've definitely fallen into them. And that kind of explains how I ended up here in the first place. Let me talk you through them on reflection in the past 3 months. Mistake number one is falling for a good deal. Now, this mainly applies to blind buys, but you see a perfume that you've kind of heard about, maybe you watched a video or someone kind of mentioned it, and the price is kind of good. And you're like, well, let me just get it, and worst case scenario, I'll get rid of it. But then you do that over and over and over again, and you end up with a bunch of stuff that you don't particularly like. Mistake number two is not maintaining my list. I have a list on Excel where I keep all the perfumes categorized by their categories, and with the price of purchase, etc., and date of purchase. And over on holiday, I was not bring my computer. I left all of that behind, and I kind of just lost track of how many I bought, how many I have. So that's lesson number two, is kind of not keeping track and keeping inventory of what you already have before you're adding to it. Mistake number three that I made to end up in this position was definitely becoming more of a collector, where I'm like, I like these brands, let me get another one of them, because it makes it look better. So that's definitely another mistake. Mistake number 4, I would say, is excessively buying backup bottles. Okay, I have too many Chanel Antaeus, too many Chanel Egoistes, and a lot of backup Heritage and L'Ensemble de Guerlain as well. And it's kind of like, do I really need those? Maybe not. Okay, so definitely got hit by that one, or I've been buying backup bottles because the price is so cheap. But here's the thing, even if you get a good deal, you're still spending money. It's like being at the casino. Okay, there's a saying, I don't gamble, I'm against gambling, but I believe there's a saying where they're like, the house never loses. So even if you get a win, like you think you won, right? But you haven't won because they're going to win, right? Because you keep spending. So the only person that loses is you. Whether you get a good deal or a bad deal, it doesn't really matter. Unless you keep that thing and you wear it plenty and you get your money's worth out of it, you've not won. So, the house never loses. So you can't beat the house, okay? And the house being perfume. In this instance, if you're buying it, you can't win. Okay, no matter how good of a deal you got, you're still kind of buying. You get what I mean? How am I going to get myself out of the situation with you guys? I'm going to go back to basics. So I'm going to do the number one thing that I like to do, which is categorize perfumes into groups, and then think, how many of this group do I need? Which one is the best in class? Which ones are not quite as good, but they add value and they're kind of slightly different enough to keep, and which ones are kind of redundant, and those ones we're going to just get rid of. So today in this video, we're going to go through ambers. Ambers are one of my favorite kind of perfumes. Okay, so I am going to be giving myself a lot of leeway in terms of keeping ambers. Now, before we continue, what are ambers to me? Okay, as in, what do you have to be to fit this criteria? So amber, technically, from a technical standpoint, there's obviously grey amber, which is ambergris. That is not amber to me. Okay, ambergris is going to have its own category. So there'll be no ambergris based perfumes or ambergris heavy perfumes in my amber category. It will be vanillas, benzoin, labdanum, essentially. Okay, these are the kind of ambers that we're going for. So because I think ambers is in my top 3 categories of perfume, along Fougère for sure, and probably patchouli just edging out Chypre, I'm going to give myself some leeway. So let's take a roll call and see what we have. So the first perfume is Ambra Aurea by Perfume Roma. Now this one is amazing. I think personally this is objectively, so not subjectively, objectively, probably the best amber ever made. Why do I say that? Because it's perfect in every way. Let me just put some on. It'll be my scent of the night, I guess. Why not? Oh, this sprays are horrible. Oh my god, it's strong. I forgot how strong this is. Wow. I can taste it. Wow, wow, wow. So Amber Aurea for me is the best in class amber, and it will always stay in my collection no matter what. So what makes this best in class? So I will do a video about this perfume for you guys, but Amber Aurea is such a vivid amber. Okay. Wow. Wow, it's unbelievable, breathtaking. So why is Amber Aurea objectively the best amber for me? Is that it's just a quintessential amber in such a Perfume Roma style. Firstly, Perfume Roma make these kind of one note or one ingredient or one theme perfumes, and they do them so well, and they don't really try and do anything outside of that. So they just sat down clearly in Rome in 1998 and said, I can imagine them being very nonchalant, thinking like, hey, let's make an amber, guys. And then they didn't need to say any more. Like, I think it's a family-run business. They probably just looked at each other and said, should we make an amber? Everyone was like, yeah, let's make an amber. And that was the brief. They didn't say anything. Everyone understood, because when Perfume and Aroma say, let's make a perfume around this note, everyone on the table says yes, because they understand that they're going to make the best amber or the best whatever, patchouli or the best marine scent ever. That is always their goal. They're not trying to really tell a story. They're not trying to be artistic. They're not even necessarily trying to sell you a product. They're just trying to make the best amber ever, and they have. What does this smell like? To me, it smells quite similar to another amber that I have, which is Ambre Sultan by Serge Lutens. But everything is taken up 10 notches. The quality of Amber Aurea is 10 times the quality of the Serge Lutens to me. It's so vivid. It feels like you've zoomed into the resin and you're inside of the resin. Imagine you've become some kind of microscopic, ant, and you've climbed and just crawled into the amber, and you can smell and feel the texture. This also has this ambergris thing, which has this salty feel. So not only is this the best amber, but it's one of the best ambergris perfumes that I have. Okay, it's super potent. It's not too sweet, but it's just sweet enough. It's not too smoky, but it's just smoky enough. It's not too resinous, it's just resinous enough. And it's absolutely perfection. Okay. Wow. To me, it's not that animalic. It's slightly animalic, as ambers should be. They're not polished. They don't polish their perfumes. They don't really say, let's just make it likable. They're like, no, this is amber. This is what amber should be. And I fully believe this is the greatest amber that I've ever smelled. So Amber Aurea is never leaving. Okay, so this is my number one, my best in class amber. So that's staying. Brings me on to another perfume that I have that's an amber, and that I just mentioned briefly, Serge Lutens Ambre Sultan. Now this smells quite similar to Amber Aurea for me, but it's not as high quality, does not last as long, not as deep and interesting, and has an annoying bay leaf kind of thing. Why do I have it? And yes, I do have a bit of a dent. I did give some to a friend though, so it's not all my dent. I got this because I wanted to get to know it a bit more, okay? Because it is a reference amber in everyone's books, and I like it. And actually it grew on me, and I was very happy with this until I smelt this. And now Ambre Sultan, this 50 ml bottle, is completely, totally redundant. I will be selling this because whilst I will not get a lot of money for this, like I explained earlier, it's not really about money. It's about the decision-making fatigue. This will just sit there collecting dust. And even if I sell this for, 20, 30 pounds, 40 pounds, that could be put somewhere else, okay? And to me, this is going to be collecting dust, and I'd rather someone else enjoy it than just be a hoarder. So I think Ambre Sultan will be gone because Amber Aurea has completely displaced the need for it. So that's the first two. Let's move on. Next up, I have an amber that is very dear to me, and it is Lilion de Chanel. Now, Lilion is actually one of the highlights of 2024 for me, and it was love at first sniff. This bottle doesn't have a huge dent because I've actually owned so many bottles of this. I bought a 75 ml, went through a lot of it, and then I thought I need more. So I sold the 75 ml and then bought another 200 ml. And then this is what we have at the moment. Now, why is Lilion staying? This is one of my favorite perfumes of all times. I actually technically prefer this more than Amber Aurea. I enjoy wearing this a bit more because I think it's the most perfect labdanum perfume ever. It focuses on the labdanum and makes it super leathery and smoky. And it has this wonderful lemony, opening. To me, this is very unique, and I love it way too much for it to be ever sold. So Lilion is definitely staying. So far we have two ambers that are staying, Lilion and Amber Aurea. Let's move on to my other ambers. Now this perfume is Les Deux Marocaines by Andy Tower. As you can see, it's got a bit of a dent in. And as you can also see, this does not even stay anymore, which is really annoying me. There's no way for me to fix it. It's one of those ancient ones without the kind of thing in it. There's he usually cuts a little cutout to help it stick better, but now I just can't. And if I press it down, it just presses the atomizer. It's really annoying for me. Everyone labels this as an amber, and I guess it is an amber. To me, it's more about the spices than the amber, But to me, Les Deux Américains is my summertime amber, and it's also one of my favorite spicy perfumes. So to me, it's not redundant to keep this one. I wear it a lot. It's my summer amber, but actually for me, I actually would put this in the spicy category. And when we declutter my spicy perfumes, this will be in the spicy category. So to me, it's not that ambery. It's more about the ambergris and spices for me personally. It's quite light. It's definitely staying, so it's not going anywhere. That's Les Deux Américains by Andy Tower. Next up, I have Ambre Rousse by Parfum Dompierre. Now, this perfume is absolutely magical. It is an amber, but it's very light. It's very unique with that vodka champagne thing. It has this Immortelle spiciness, actually one of my favorite Immortelle uses, because I really don't love Immortelle at all. My only regret is that I got this 50ml. I should have got 100ml. I will finish this bottle and I will buy 100ml and I'll continue to use it because it's so light wearing for an amber, and it's so unique because of the vodka, champagne, and Immortelle that gives it that kind of different vibe. And it's so light wearing, but it's quite a resilient and powerful performer. It stays for a long time, and I absolutely love wearing this. I pull this out in the summer a lot, all year round really. So Ambre Rousse is definitely staying. So we are on 3.5 ambers, because technically to me Les Deux Américains is not an amber. So we have 3 ambers in our amber collection so far. Next up we have Ambre Fétiche by Goutal. Now this one off the bat doesn't add anything new to my collection. It's more myrrh heavy when it comes to the resinousness, but it has and it's vanilla heavy. Technically, it is different than the ambers that I have, but to me, in the opening first hour, there's some kind of play-doughy kind of thing, and it's kind of plasticky play-doughy, and it's sweet myrrh in the base. To be honest with you, I might like Bengal Rouge more by Papillon, but I don't have that one. To me, I think Ambre Fétiche by Goutal will be getting cold from the collection, simply because as far as vanillas go, I have better vanillas, I think. As far as ambers go, I have better ambers. And it has that play-doughy thing going on in the opening that to me, just for the first hour, I don't really enjoy it that much. In terms of labdanum, I way prefer Le Lion. In terms of pure ambers, I way prefer Amber Aurea. In terms of light ambers, I wouldn't describe this as light, so it's not in the same ballpark as any of the others. So I think Goutal Ambre Fétiche is going to be one that's going to be decluttered. Next up we have, this one is more vanilla than amber, but I'm going to mention it because technically vanilla is part of amber, but it is Vanille Havane by Les Indemodables. Okay, this is unlike any of these. I don't think it's an amber personally, because I think vanilla is a different thing and amber is a different thing in my mind. But because, it's absolutely wonderful. I'm just going to mention this briefly, but this is not going to be one of my ambers, but it's definitely staying. But let's move on. Next up, we have Grand Soir by MFK. Now, I do regret getting this humongous bottle, even though it was a real bargain. Oh, it's wonderful. Now, I know this is technically an amber, guys. I mean, most people say this is the quintessential amber. To me, this is more about the vanilla, okay? And it's super cozy, and it's so well made that there's no way I can get rid of this, okay? Is it the weakest amber and the least ambery amber of all of the ones I have? Yes, but it is one of the better vanillic ambers, I would say. It's one of the better likable ambers, because the ones I have at the moment so far, they all kind of have something, an edge to them. Amber Aurea has that saltiness and animalicness, you know, the smoky labdanum of Le Lion. These are not easygoing perfumes. Even Ambre Rousse has that Immortelle curryness going on in the base. It's not the most likable. I mean, my wife doesn't even like that. This one though is always a hit. It performs crazy because of all the synthetics in here, but I don't mind the synthetics in here. I might sell this just to get the smaller one because there's no way I'm gonna like get through even a quarter of this bottle, to be honest with you guys. 200 ml of this is way too much. So Grand Soir is definitely gonna stay. Next up we have this bad boy here. This is Rochas Moustache Eau de Parfum. Now this is a cheapie, a really legendary cheapie. And it is this wonderful benzoin kind of thing with vanilla and a hint of patchouli and a bit of rose. Its performance is pretty poor, 4 to 6 hours. This one I like to use after a shower in the evening when I'm about to go to bed, like an hour or two later, because by the morning it's kind of gone. Also, it doesn't really annoy you in your sleep. And this is so cheap that I don't think it's worth me selling. I might gift this to maybe my brother or something along those lines, or, one of the younger family members when I ever see them. So this is kind of getting decluttered, but for now it's going to stay simply because it's just not worth giving up. It is a fantastic benzoin though, like it's absolutely wonderful. I'm missing benzoin heavy ambers. This is probably the most benzoin heavy one that I have. I would love to get a Guerlain Bois d'Harmonie, but obviously it's discontinued. So maybe in the future I'll declutter this and get Bois d'Harmonie instead. But for now, I think this one is going to stay. Even though it doesn't get a lot of play, I think it's just cheap enough to keep around, just right in the back. What I'm going to do with this one, just as a intermediate kind of thing, is that I will give it 12 months. If I wear it at least 3 times, then it stays. If I don't wear it, if I wear it once or twice only, it can go this time next year. So in the maybe is going to be Rochas Moustache. Now the last ambery perfume that I have is Tuxedo. Tuxedo is technically a patchouli perfume, right? But it's super sweet and vanillic. And that's why I'm bringing it in this category. Okay. Tuxedo is technically a guilty pleasure of mine, except I don't even feel guilty, guys. This is my date night perfume. My wife loves it. It's sweet. It's attractive. She likes it. She's not a huge patchouli kind of person, but this one she tolerates. It is very vanillic though, so that's why I brought it up here. Now you might be thinking these two are quite similar. I disagree. I don't get much patchouli from Moustache. This is a lot more patchouli heavy. Moustache is more benzoin vanilla. This is more patchouli vanilla. Personally, I'm going to keep both, simply because this is my date night perfume. Technically, these two are the weakest of all the ambers that I have. They're barely really ambers, really more vanillic ambers, But I just like them. And this one, my wife really enjoys. That's enough. That's good enough for me. So Tuxedo, I definitely give it a lot of wears, to be honest with you, because it's like my mass appealing amber. Moustache, we're going to see how many wears I get through over this winter. And if by, the summertime, it's not getting much play, I'll just give it away to one of my young family members who will this will like blow someone's mind, So now we've gone through all of these. We've established which one is best in class, and that's definitely staying. Which one is my favorite, and that's definitely staying. And we've kind of thought about what the others give me, whether it's they're lighter, so I can wear them in the summer, whether they're sweeter, whether they are just enjoyed by others, more mass appealing, not so challenging. That's where we are at the moment. So let's go through the perfumes that I'm keeping and kind of categorize them. So Amber Aurea, best in class, never going. Lilion, my favorite amber. So these two, definitely staying. These two, my summer ambers, Ambre Rousse and L'air des Américains. This is more of a hybrid. I think this is more of a spicy perfume personally. So maybe it doesn't really belong in this list. So I'm going to say Amber Rousse is 100% staying, and I'm going to move L'air des Américains away from the ambers into the spicy category. Grand Soir, my favorite mass appealing, vanillic, people pleasing amber. More vanilla to me personally. Next up we have Tuxedo and Mustache. I know this is mainly patchouli, but these are quite similar. This is more benzoin and vanilla. These are kind of vanillas to me. I might stick them in the vanilla category. They're not really true ambers, but this one is definitely staying because it's just my date night perfume. I gotta have it. Mustache. Mustache is having its notice that you need to pull your weight. I'll be counting how many wears I give this perfume over the next 4 months or so until we get to summer or spring. And like I said, if I'm not giving it, at least 3, I'm expecting like 5 wears because this is so easy to wear, then I will not be keeping this one around. Last but certainly not least, the ambers that we are decluttering from my collection are going to be, I know, shocking, Amber Sultan and Amber Fetiche. These might be some of your favorites, I understand, but to me, they've just been displaced by perfumes that for me are better, higher quality, better performing, and do what these do, but to a higher standard and higher level. So these will be getting sold, maybe joined by Mustache. I effectively have 4 ambers, okay? Amber Aurea, Lilion, Amber Rousse, and Grand Soir. I love ambers, and I'm quite comfortable with that number. Even if I have 40 or 50 as my limit, which I don't have a number limit really, I'm quite comfortable giving 4 spots away to ambers. I could probably afford to fit another one in, but to me, it wouldn't be the 2 that I'm selling because they're just redundant. They just don't add anything to this collection. I've sampled a lot of ambers and did not go for them. Stuff like Material Woman. There's a ton of other ambers I've sampled. So that's where I am at the moment. I'm quite comfortable with 4 ambers. Throughout this series, I guess you guys will get to know my collection very, very intimately. So these are 4 that are staying. And in the next episode, we'll go through another category, see what we can declutter, see where we are comfortable at. Thank you very much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.